Welcome back, guys. This is How I Talk. I appreciate you guys for checking back in. We got another exciting episode. Of course, you know who I am. I'm the co-host. My name is Chris, and I'm back to deliver another message. Of course, we talk about anything and everything, but what I do think is important that while we may have the knowledge for some areas, there are some aspects that we may not be as informative about, which is why we bring knowledgeable guests on our show, people that can give some insight to something that is important to you. And I think what we have today to talk about is something that's very important. What we want to talk about today is physical fitness and health and why it matters. I'm going to tell you now, I don't got all the answers, but I am lucky to have the person right next to me, Jasmine, to share that information. Hi, Jasmine. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you for having me on, Chris. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on to the show. Definitely been one of the guests we've been wanting to talk to, and I know the information that you're going to share with the audience today is definitely going to be impactful, helpful. And at the end of the day, what is important for us is that you guys get some of the jewels that we have to share with you. If you got to take notes, whatever you got to do, if you can tell somebody to tell another friend, that's important because this right here is going to be the segue and navigation tool to be able to improve your life, to improve your lifestyle. It is huge what we're talking about today. So Jasmine, before we even get into the conversation, people got to know who you are and what you're about. So please give them a synopsis of a little bit about you and what you came here to deliver today.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sure. So my name is Jasmine, and I'm a health and wellness advocate. I'm a community health educator, and I'm a group fitness instructor. I've been in the health and wellness and fitness industry for the last 3 years, before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and now as we are all slowly coming out of the pandemic. And I am just really excited to be here to just share some of the things that I have learned on my own personal journey and what I have learned in my studies for my certifications, and just share it with you all. And hey, we're all in this together. There's so many of us that are going through so many different things. And if I can share some things with others to help them grow and evolve and maintain, then that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we appreciate that. And I know it's not too late to do this, but I heard you got a podcast going on. Tell us a little bit about that, where they can find this information.
Sure, yes. So me and one of my best friends have a podcast. It's called Opposites in a Nutshell with Jasmine and Shay. And we are on
Mhm.
all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google. Basically, our podcast is us as two women sharing our conversations, our own personal conversations with each other, with the world. Our hopes is that we can encourage another woman or man, that they're not alone in this world that we live in. So we talk about anything and everything that tugs at our hearts. We go spiritual, we go relational, we go health, we go business. We talk about everything, and we'd love for you to connect, find us, check us out on YouTube. Um, we can share some links, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
I can find us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now you said something that's going to segue us right into the conversation, and I like that because you said, "Hey, you talk about everything: business, occupation, right? Finance. You talk about just everyday lifestyle, physical health." But that kind of segues me into the dimensions of wellness. Can you elaborate on what those are? The 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yes, yes, sure. So wellness, when we're talking about wellness, in our realm of professionals, it's a pretty broad concept, and it's pretty broad when we're talking with people that come in to see us as clients or families. So it's broken down into 8 dimensions of wellness, so that we can really pinpoint what's going on in someone's life and how to take them from where they are to where they want to go. So the 8 dimensions of wellness: emotional. What are you dealing with emotionally? What's going on in your heart? Physical, which I'll discuss a little bit further here today on the podcast. What are you putting into your body? You're eating and drinking, then how are you moving your body? And then there's occupational. Are you content with your job, your career path? Intellectual. Do you feel like your brain is being challenged? Do you feel like you need more of a challenge, or are you dealing with a challenge yourself? Or your child or your niece or nephew is dealing with dyslexia or something like that. What's your intellectual health? Financial. Are you budgeting? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you thriving? Are you tithing? That's financial. Then there's social. which so many of us struggled with during the height of the pandemic, was we weren't able to be with our people. We weren't able to give hugs. We were doing that elbow thing, but that really wasn't cutting it, right?
Right.
How's your social well-being? How is your environmental well-being? Do you feel like you're in a safe place? Do you feel like you can go outside without the dangers of violence or there's tragedy or you don't have clean water to drink, right? And then last but not least, spiritual. How is your spiritual health? Whether you're connecting with who you believe is your higher power or you haven't tapped into any of that, you're curious, or you spend a lot of time praying, how is your spiritual wellness? And all that encompasses our 8 dimensions of wellness for our own well-being. It's really good. It's really positive to check in to your 8 dimensions of wellness once a month, 2 times a year. If you feel like you're struggling in an area, go talk to a professional that can help you, whether that's a therapist, a financial coach, business mentor, whether that's hiring a personal trainer. So just recognizing that your whole being can be broken down into 8 dimensions of wellness. If you want to live well, live long, live happy, check in with those 8 dimensions of wellness.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a lot of great information you just shared. But I'm going to tell you right now, somebody that's listening is thinking, man, Jasmine, you just broke that down for clarity, but I don't know where to start because you just said a lot of different areas of my life that I feel like either I'm doing well in and maybe I can improve in, or maybe I just don't know where to start. And I feel like a lot of people don't know where to start because you gave the environment, you gave the spiritual, the intellectual, the financial. These are all areas that take time to improve, but a lot of the times people don't know where to start. My question though for you is though, where do you recommend them to start? Do you say, hey, focus on your emotional first, or hey, focus on the area that is important? What does that look like?
Well, honestly, um, because we're kind of 8 dimensions are intertwined, right? You thinking of it as a wheel. You think of it as those Venn diagram circles where things are overlapping, right? We learned in school the Venn diagram, it can be on this side, or in the middle. It's
Right.
interlapping. So I would say start anywhere that you want because it's all connected. If you're worrying about money, your financial well-being isn't on tap, then you're probably getting stressed out. So then you're going to want to go talk to a therapist. And then your therapist may say, hey, I think you ought just go to the gym once a week or go outside for a walk, and that will really help lower your anxiety and your depression by just moving your body. So then you head over to your local YMCA or Lifetime Fitness or just out to your local park. And so and then while you're out there, you may look up to the sky and decide, man, I haven't prayed in a while. So it's all interconnected. I would say just choose one, start there, and keep it moving because it's all connected. You are who you are, and all of it matters. Your entire well being matters. So just start anywhere and just go from there. And I promise, especially if you choose a professional that you trust, they're going to help guide you on the process. And it won't seem as overwhelming as, oh man, I got to check this one and this one and this one. It's just going to flow.
Absolutely. You said something interesting too. Is like all of that matters. But you got into this particular area to discuss and where your knowledge is rooted in. Why did you do that? I think your why is important. Why did you get into this, and why are you sharing with us today? What is your backstory on this?
Sure. Yeah, so my backstory can go back to I was hospitalized when I was pregnant with my youngest daughter. And not a lot of people know that story except for my family and friends. And I do share bits and pieces of it in my classes. But gestational diabetes is there's a small percentage of women who are hospitalized and have to have actual medicine and monitoring because my body at the time was not producing enough insulin. And not only was it affecting my health for me to live, but also my unborn child. And I had health educators in the hospital who encouraged me and helped me work on my eating plan. What was I eating and how was I moving my body, reducing my stress. So it was really kind of like a health scare. This happens to a lot of people. You get a health scare, or someone you love has a health scare, has a heart attack, or gets diagnosed with cancer, or many of us have just went through this, come down with the coronavirus and do not make it, do not survive the complications of the coronavirus because of underlying health conditions, which we can all work on those. We can all work on our wellness if we take care of our body. Again, on the front end, we're investing in ourselves. Then on the back end, there's a little bit less that you pay into, hospital bills and things like that. So for me, for myself, I had gestational diabetes. It scared me. I wanted to be safe for myself. I wanted to be healthy, and I wanted to make sure that my daughter was going to be okay. And from there, I started working on the process of learning how can I be that health educator, that nurse that basically saved my life and my daughter's life. So I promised myself in that moment that I'm going to be her. I'm going to do that because my entire way of eating and physical activity changed from that moment because I had to. But even when I was out of the situation, my daughter was born, I already had this practice, this pattern of making sure that I'm being mindful of what I'm putting into my body and mindful of how much I'm moving. So that's really how I got into it. I started working for my local gym, got certified to be a group fitness instructor, got my certified personal training certification through the National Association of Sports Medicine. So I just started taking these steps in order to learn more for myself, but also to share with others because I'm just one woman who came down with gestational diabetes. There are several women who go through this process, and not just women, but the men in my family that have been dealing with diagnoses that I'm like, oh, I need you to live longer. I need you to be around. So let's incorporate more fruits and vegetables into your diet. And hey, you want to go on a walk with me? Like I've been pushing. I've been that annoying friend that's been like, hey, y'all want to come to my class? Y'all want to come work out with me? I've been that because I know how important it is for us to do these things so that we can lower the risk of obesity and heart disease um, as
See, but
young.
you're absolutely, but you're very spot on about encouraging others. It's not even honestly, I know you're being funny with like the annoying friend. I really think it's great that you encourage people though, and people out there listening should really take homage to a friend that is doing that for you. If they're encouraging you to get to that gym or encouraging you to eat a different type of food or just change your overall lifestyle, whether it be financially, spiritually, mentally, all those different aspects, take heed of that type of person. That person wants to help you improve. If you're in a relationship or a friendship, whatever the case may be, if somebody's encouraging you to help you improve, that's the right type of person you need in your life. Um, you said something interesting, of course, your story, and I think that was great what you shared. I really appreciate you sharing that because we all have a story, and people got to define what is their story. Once they define their story, they can understand their why. And it looks like you found your story and you found your why. Um, but you talked about you're in group fitness, right? Physical aspect. That's one of the aspects of why, of course, this matters. Physical fitness. How do you get somebody to get into that and make that a priority day to day or week to week?
Okay, sure. So, yes, I believe in group fitness. It can be a stepping stone for several reasons. For someone to get into group fitness, you just have to show up, right? You figure out, is there yoga in the park? Um, a lot of major cities have yoga in the park, and it's free. You show up with your mat, and you're sitting next to someone that you may not know, or you bring a friend with you, cousin, auntie, somebody comes with you, and you sit down and do yoga in the park. And when you're done, you're like, hey, that was great. I feel good. I'll be back next Saturday at 9 o'clock, right? Um, Group fitness allows you to have built-in accountability and a coach. And so I highly recommend, if you don't like to work out, have never worked out, you're nervous about it, sign up for a group fitness class. There's the whole gamut. There's dancing, there's line dancing, there's strength training where you're using weight. There is it can be ab shredded, it can be anything. There's so many options. And then there's free ones, and there's some that's connected to your local gym. Um, so I think that it's powerful because you have an opportunity to move your body with other like-minded people, and you have a coach at the front of the room cheering you on every step of the way. And then from there, if you want to, you can go off and do your own workout in the gym. If you feel like you've already gained all the tools that you need, you can go run your marathon by yourself, you know. But
Mm.
group fitness definitely allows you to have like that first step. And a lot of times people stay because, if you have an amazing coach, you stay, you come back each week.
Yeah,
You bring up your friends, you drag your mom in. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. Accountability and a coach, a professional that helps you without the professional fee. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. Now, are you saying that your class is going to be over the top? Are we sure the class we getting into, we may not throw up, we may not get sick or nothing from your class? I know you're going to be having us work out in there. Ain't no
I'm gonna
games
work.
being played.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna work you. It's not easy. I'm gonna work you.
Hey, y'all
We
be prepared. If y'all sign up for her class, you know what you're getting into. This is a fair warning right now. Understood. Understood. Okay. I think something like we've talked off camera about that I thought was interesting that I wrote down in my notes was just the fact that you said the words. Like you talked about physical activity, and this could be applied in the entire wheelhouse of the wellness dimensions. But you did talk about the word choices and the words that you use in physical activity. Kind of break that down for me and elaborate what you share with me off camera, but to the audience here.
absolutely. Um, so I like to say that, we're in this phase as Americans or across the world where we have inclusivity. Another one of the positive things that came out of the pandemic, in my opinion, is that we have learned as a world to include people and to not to look down on someone because of the way they look, to include someone who may not have the same exact abilities to still be able to do the task, right? You see people who are joining marathons, but they are paraplegic, but they're doing the marathon. Um, it's just we're in a state of inclusivity, which I think is beautiful. So one of the things that I say in my rhetoric when I'm talking to people, either in my classes or just my friends and family, is I changed the wordage. Not do we want to go work out? Not if I know that she's not into lifting weights and she doesn't want to be in there with a whole bunch of guys and they're grunting and yelling and slamming weights down and that's intimidating, I'm like, hey, do you want to go on a hike with me? Let's just go move our
Mhm.
body, move our bodies. So move our bodies and putting good things in. So in my classes, when I'm working with at-risk adolescents, because there is a risk of eating disorders or shame equated with childhood obesity, we change our rhetoric. So we encourage the children and their families to change what you're saying. This is not, we're not bashing, we're including. Hey, do you want to come with me to this dance class? Let's do this
Mhm.
together. Hey, do you think that was a good choice for you to eat? Or is there a better choice that we can choose? Instead of going to have two hamburgers, how about we get a salad and add chicken to it? Right? Just changing our rhetoric to make sure that we're including other people because everyone has a starting place. All athletes had a starting place. They didn't turn out how they are um, by just getting out there and running. Everyone has a starting place, and so that's one thing that I would say is for all the listeners, you have a starting place, and wherever that is, that's okay. If we're gonna start with meatless Mondays and work our way up to a full vegan lifestyle, then that's what we'll do. If this is one walk a week, one day at the gym a week, we'll start with that and we'll work our way up.
Absolutely. It's about the start. I think that's important. It's just starting.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't start, and that really holds them back. So I really like what you're saying here. I think that's very important because a lot of times fear drives them from not wanting to start. I'll give you an example. My sister, my youngest sister, I've been encouraging her to go to the gym. She might kill me if she ever hears this, but I got you. But as far as us going to the gym, she went with me one time. I really appreciated that she was able to come to the gym with me and just encouraging her to say, hey, you could do this. The thing about it though is that she didn't really want to go to the gym off the the pure fact that going to a actual gym where people are lifting weights, it's just people are looking at you. And she felt that everybody had their eyes on her. The truth is at the gym, sometimes people just ain't really worried about you. They're worried about their own workout. Are there people that are looking at you? Sure, absolutely. Are there creeps? Absolutely. We know this right at the gym. But I was just telling her, like, hey, I know you don't know the workouts. I know you don't know how to do certain things. It's okay. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you out. And you just starting is going to make you feel a lot better about yourself. So for her being able to actually get out there and actually finishing that workout, that was a great launching pad for her. Now, her moving forward, she's tried different ways for her working out. That may not be the best way for her, but a lot of it is about fear. It's the mindset of like, man, if I step into this arena, everybody gonna look at me. I'm gonna fall flat on my face. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's okay. It's okay. The thing is, if you start, you're gonna learn as you go. If you think about anything you do in life, as soon as you started, you may have not been the best. There's some things that people are natural at. Maybe that was God-given talent. But there's other things it's like, hey, I got to improve in this area if I really want to get where I need to be. We talked about it all the time off camera. We're not the best at podcasting. I know I'm not. I can't speak for you, but I'm not. But I am learning as I go. And I truly believe over time that I have something to say that's going to get to a mass audience in due time. So I definitely hear you on that. Now, on the contrary, I hear what you're saying, Jasmine, about the words that you use. It don't work all the time because I'll be trying to get my mom up in there and it don't be working. Well, she be ignoring every time I put it on the table. Like, hey, we can go to the gym, get a quick workout. It don't work. It don't work. So I'm gonna try something different of what you said. I'm gonna say, hey, let's start off on this Monday for 30 minutes. We're gonna start slow, and it might work. We'll see. But I'm gonna take your word. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's because moving our body is the main thing, right? Um, if you have, so we break it down into moderate intensity or high intensity. Moderate intensity is going to increase our heart health, right? So for our parents, for example, we want them to have strong heart health because they're getting older and they have less and less chance, seemingly less and less chances to move their body. So instead of you saying, hey, mom, do you want to come to the gym with me? Go for a walk. And in your walk, you may start jogging and she may fast walk, right? Kind of meet her where she is, or if she likes to dance. My parents like to dance. So I'm always encouraging, like, hey, go to swing out, go dance,
Yep.
move your body. Because as long as you're doing a moderate intensity movement for 30 minutes, you have increased your heart health. And then from there, it may evolve. Like I know a lot of people in my running group, they started out with just walking and now they're running 5Ks and 10Ks. But they start out with just walking. Oh, I'll go out there and I'll walk. But then they got the momentum, they got the accountability. I'm like, oh yeah, I can run that. Oh, and I lasted 10 minutes. Oh, I lasted 30 minutes. Okay, great.
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Got an extra person on the show.
That's my baby.
Absolutely, absolutely. But
But
what you
yeah,
shared, go ahead. I mean, what you shared was definitely informative, and I mean, you even segue to the next point, which is I mean, you talked about your parents and just getting them out there to dance and find what it is that they like to do. But you did talk about your parents, and we are minorities. One thing that I think we don't talk about enough in the community as far as minorities is the food that we eat. I think that is huge in being able to one, be physical, being able to have the energy that you need throughout the day, and you can just see it in different people. If we talk about obesity, I mean, obesity is affecting, I want to say roughly in America, I think I saw a stat somewhere that said 70 million Americans suffer with obesity. But I've noticed that in the minority communities, the things that we eat are troublesome. I mean, shit, we grew up on what? Fried chicken, we grew up on soul food, we grew up on collard greens, all those different things. Great, I love it. But is that really healthy? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we both know that, right? But it's it's that mentality of transitioning to the next um, generation. If I ever get children, I was like, shoot, these jokers gonna be eating broccoli. That's what they're gonna be eating. Broccoli all day, vegetables. But yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, as far as food intake, what does that look like?
oof, yes. Hey, you're absolutely right. And so for me, again, I'll be honest, I'm annoying, and my kids do eat a lot of vegetables. Um, I am annoying
That's
with this, but
perfect.
because I know the importance. Not trying to take away from our culture, right? Because soul food has its purpose, and there's a reason why we have had soul food in our community, right? We were given the last bit of the food from the slave masters, so generationally we've had to make do with what we have.
Right.
Cornmeal is cheaper, so that's why we have cornbread. While we were eating pig's feet, because that's all that was left of the animals to give.
Mhm.
There were
Mhm.
some people who did grow vegetables, but not so much because ancestrally it was cotton and tobacco that was grown, right? So we just had to
Mhm.
make do, but we may do what we may do, and we passed it on. But right
Right.
now, we're finding out that it's not healthy for us. To slather things up with butter, that's not healthy. That clogs the artery. And as we get
Mhm.
older, we're not moving our body and our blood's not flowing as well. That's detrimental to our heart health, to our gut health. Um, and eating too many things that are high in fats that don't digest, drinking cow's milk, eating red meat, it doesn't digest. Our body is not breaking it down. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to cut out all the things that they love, but everything done in moderation when it comes to what you're putting into your body is very smart. It's very wise and it's helpful. So that's what I say is in moderation. You can still have the things that you love, just maybe not as much as you used to. And most importantly, incorporating a tremendously more amount of fresh, raw fruits and vegetables into our diet is hands down the best. So I often teach, half of your plate needs to be raw or fresh fruits and vegetables. That's where our vitamins, our minerals are coming from. That's where we have some of our, our energy source coming from because there are carbs in that. Um, so I'm a pretty big advocate of just amping up our vegetables, our vegetable intake, and lowering some of the other things that cause high blood pressure, excuse me, high cholesterol, and can lead towards like type 2 diabetes, especially in our community because it's so prevalent and it comes on really, really quickly. Um, start
Absolutely.
and unfortunately, the age range where these concerns used to happen 20 years ago, where it used to be, oh, you need to go get everything checked out around, around 50. Now it's 40. Now it's 40. Just because we have so much access to foods that are not great for our body, foods and drinks that are not good for our body, the age range has actually lowered. And I mean, I'm in my 30s. So I'm like, okay, well, let me get it together now so that I'm not in that 40-year-old statistic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. I think a lot of people go for convenience. What does convenience mean? I mean, hey, we're always on the road nowadays and people are in and out of doing different tasks. So convenient is let me just pick up this food to go or let me go eat at a restaurant. And I'll be honest, hey, I've been victim of this as well. But I can just see it in one, my energy. I can see it in as far as physical fitness, if I have a goal, it makes it very much so tough because I'm going to eat out and how they cook the food versus how I might cook the food and what I might incorporate in my daily intake is going to be just totally different. So, I mean, again, I agree with you, and I think balance is huge. It's not saying that you can't go out to eat. It's not saying when you're at the movies you can't get that popcorn with a lot of butter. I'm talking about myself because that's what I like. But whatever it is that if it's the chocolate, chocolate's good for you, but it's doing too much chocolate. It's eating too much fatty foods. Those things right there will really have an adverse effect on you. But if you can do it in moderation and do it in balance, yes, I agree with you. And vitamins are huge. I think that's something a lot of people just ignore. And again, I've been victim of this as well. But like the vitamins, juicing, all those different things are healthy and helpful. And I think that you can see that energy shift. I remember I used to be a perfect example when I used to work in the office is lunch. I would eat a heavy lunch, but sometimes it'd be like Whataburger. You eating that fatty food, and then I'm by an hour, 2 hours later, I'm done. I'm ready to take a nap. My energy's been depleted from the workday. But if I were to transition, I notice the days, okay, cool. I'm bringing my food that I meal prep for, a lot more veggies, a lot more helpful. it don't look as appealing. You know, it might be that chicken and rice, and it ain't as appealing, or some veggies, but that's okay. It's all right. I'm gonna eat it. But I've noticed that my energy just kept increasing, kept being able to allow me to sustain throughout the whole day. And I saw the volume of my ability and work to increase, which does lead me to that also. Another dimension is the occupational aspect. What does that look like? Break that down for us, unpack that for us.
Now, um, so occupational wellness. It's a check-in on how are you feeling about what you do for a living. I used to talk about this all the time with my in college. I used to talk about this with my advisor. I used to tell her like, okay, well, as I'm on this journey, I want to be able to tell people, I want to be able to answer that question. When you first meet someone, they're like, hi, how are you? What's your name? And what do you do? Right. And if you're not content in your occupational wellness, that can lead to depression. Again, I said everything was kind of intertwined. You can be depressed. You can be like, oh, I hate my job. I don't want to be here. I'm ready to leave. But you internalize it instead of quitting your job and leaving or finding another job, finding something that is better in line with your knowledge, skills, abilities, and your desires. Then you internalize it and you become depressed, or a lot of people use substances to help numb the pain, right? Oh,
Mhm.
girl, I just had a long day. I'm about to sit down on this couch and drink this whole glass of wine. And that glass of wine turns into a bottle of wine, right?
Right,
So it can damage us. So just checking in with your
right.
occupational wellness. And then again, we have found that now we're called that generation that doesn't stay long. We're that generation that moves around a lot. But I think it goes back to we know your worth. We know our worth. And we don't want to stay in a place where we're not supported by our supervisors, when we're not given an opportunity to move up in the company. Or like so many of us, we just want to take a step on our own and become our own boss, be an entrepreneur and step into the world of entrepreneurship. So you could probably talk on it a little bit more, but yeah, occupational wellness is just checking in with how do you feel about your work and your in your career, or even if you're going back to school and you have hopes and dreams of getting into a different career field, pivoting, uh, just checking in and seeing how you're doing it. If you have some challenges in that area, there are people to help you. There are business mentors, there are job coaches that can help you on that journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that was great how you unpacked that, because I think that now more than ever, there's just a lot of flexibility and the ability, in your day to day of being able to choose a job that you feel fits you best. Whether that be, now we have the ability to choose a remote work job if you don't feel like in person is the best fit for you being at an office, or a hybrid schedule is a better fit if they require 5 days in the office. Or you know what? I can just go ahead and be working for another company that's in another state, and I'll be rooted here in Texas because it fits my schedule a lot better. Maybe the working hours or the different time zones. Um, so I just think that with the occupation, I agree with you. We have more flexibility than ever before, but I also think that balance does come with that. And I'll share from personal experience. I think that we as young people, people that are driven, those type of people sometimes ruin the risk of their health and neglect their health because they choose to go, build something, create something, go for more. You're just on this quest of getting more things accomplished,
Mhm.
wanting more out of your life. And that's great. It's admirable for people that do that. But I think one thing that tends to happen for those people is that they refuse to check in about their health. They refuse to, have time spent for the physical aspect. They refuse to, and maybe not even refuse. Maybe they're not even aware that they're doing this. I think a lot of it is, for me, at least for the health aspect, it was something I caught on. I was like, I'm not aware that I'm not taking care of my health as much as I should. And this is more recent than it is a reoccurring thing. It's more of a recent thing because I recently got into I recently had a major injury, tore my Achilles, and that made me look back on every aspect of how I'm operating and doing things because everything's slowed down. I said, okay, cool. My health aspect, I'm not doing that much as I should be. But I think a lot of people either refuse, they don't know, and they give up areas that they can improve on or be more well-rounded because they're chasing a bag. They're chasing that money, they're chasing that new job, they're chasing another career opportunity, and they're willing to do it at whatever cost. Do I believe in that? Yes, but at the same time, I do believe that, hey, if your health is not intact, it don't matter how much you chase that bag, your health might keep you in the hospital where you can't go get that bag. So really, what are we talking about? Well, if your body's intact and your mind is intact, everything else will be able to generate from there. So I hear what you're saying. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as far as the spiritual aspect, tell me about that.
Okay, sure. So spiritual, because there are so many people all over the world listening to this podcast. I don't want to offend anyone. Chris, I know you and we're Christians. We believe in Jesus Christ, right? So that's our spiritual guide. That's our compass. That's our foundation. But really, spiritual is, again, checking in to what matters to you. If you feel like you haven't had an opportunity to talk to someone or read something, check in and do some journaling, write it out, pray it out. Spiritual wellness is huge because of who we are at our core, our soul. There are things that we go through as people living in this world, in this crazy world, that we need to. We need to pause. We need to reflect. We need to write things out. We need to cry some things out. So just tapping back into your spiritual source is huge. Studies show that I was in a class, and one of the jokes that the professor was saying was like, Catholics are some of the happiest people. They're happy, right? They go in, and I'm not Catholic, so again, not offending anyone, but they go into the room and they say whatever they need to say about their life, and then they walk out of the room just happy that they've gotten an opportunity to release what they're going through, right? And the priest hears them and gives a response, and then they walk out and they're happy. They're living their life. So spiritual wellness, just check in with how you're feeling. Give yourself an opportunity to do what you feel is best. For me, that's praying. When I'm praying, that's my opportunity to tell God what's on my heart, what I'm dealing with, which God already knows. So it gives me an opportunity to say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I need help with. This is how I'm praying for my children. This is how I'm praying for my goals and dreams, myself, my health, and my wellness, my safety. And then reading the scriptures that helps me to listen to what God has to say to me. Pulling open Psalms, pulling open Matthew or John, and just letting the words hit my heart, right? When Jesus says, you know what, Jasmine, I'm here for you. Stay connected to me. Stay connected to me. Vine and branches. You got to stay connected. Just those types of things for me is huge. If I'm not praying, fasting, reading, tithing, if I'm not connected, then I'm off. I'm like, something's not right. Then my language changes, and then I'm upset with my kids, and I pop off a little bit too early because I haven't dialed it back and have these moments with my Father, my Heavenly Father, to discuss like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Can you help me as I'm parenting my kids and they're going through things, just my everyday life can be completely unhinged if my spiritual wellness is not intact. So I make it a priority. I have to. And I would encourage everyone listening to make your spiritual wellness a priority. It's part of who you are and what you believe in, which happened to it.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's it's great to hear and something that has to be reiterated. So if you guys are listening out there, I think this one's huge. I think out of all 8, in my personal opinion, I think this one is number 1 if I had to choose it, because I think with spiritual, I think that flows from everything. Your emotional will be in check. Physically, God will take care of you. Now, I'm gonna be clear that he's definitely gonna ask you to put in some work. You're gonna have to put in some work. You know what I mean? You can pray all you want, but you have to put in the work as well. But I definitely think I've noticed for myself too, when I'm not praying, when I'm not reading, when I'm not connected, like you said, to the source, I feel like something's off. You know what I mean? So it's just your day to day. You just don't feel as connected. Something just doesn't feel right. Um, so I think it's huge. I think when you are spiritually aligned, not only is it great, but it also is good for community building. I think all of these dimensions are huge for community building. Being in a community is helpful because it keeps you accountable and you get to see other people's improvements so that you don't give up hope. You know, as a person that's connected and that's a Christian, when you are building with other people at the church and you're connected with the community, it helps because from there you guys can grow together. Hey, I'm not in this alone. A lot of times you feel like you in this alone. When I'm working out, I ain't seeing results. But you got somebody next to you that's been working hand in hand with you that's saying, hey, let's keep going. Or you say, hey, I know this other person. You know, I didn't see it now, but they've been doing it for 2 months. They 2 months ahead of me, and I see the progression they've made. I got to keep going. Because I mean, you can do it by yourself, and a lot of people say it starts with self, and I agree. But how far can self really take you if you don't have a community that can push you along? Self is the root of it all, but you have other people pushing you and saying, keep going and show up and show out. And like you said, you're a group instructor. You have somebody, like we said in the beginning, that's holding you accountable and saying, hey, you're that annoying friend or that encouraging friend, however you want to label it. That's the friend everybody needs. This is going to keep you going because, you know, by yourself, you can only do so much. So, Jasmine, I appreciate your time. I think this information was definitely helpful to the people listening out there. Is there anything that you wanted to share from what we've talked about? Anything you want to leave on a note for people to remember to just draw from at the end of the conclusion of this interview?
Yeah, sure. I want to say, I want to reiterate, start somewhere and just take that first step. Um, and don't be ashamed of wherever that first step is. Um, there is someone to help you along the way. In any area of wellness, there is a professional that can help you, but you got to start. Maybe that's that phone call or investing in that gym membership. Um,
Absolutely.
but start somewhere. And even with your eating habit, start somewhere. Like maybe you are a Pepsi drinker and you're drinking 2 Pepsis a day. Cut it back. Maybe just do 1 Pepsi a day. I mean, I would highly encourage no sugary drinks in your diet at all, for complete health. But just start somewhere. Start taking something out that doesn't add to your evolution. If it doesn't add to your health and wellness, take it out. Um, so eating and moving, just start somewhere and reach out if you need help. Reach out to a friend that you're like, hey, I know you go to such and such gym. Can I come with you one day this week? Yeah, sure, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I would say. Start somewhere. Don't be ashamed. You got this. You're gonna feel great knowing that you set out for a goal for yourself, and little by little, when you accomplish it, you're gonna feel amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And you know, it makes me think about John Wooden. A lot of the things I correlate through sports. John Wooden is he's deceased now, but he was a coach way early back in the 1900s, maybe the 50s, 60s. I could be wrong, somewhere around there, 70s, 40s, around that time. I mean, he's considered, if not the best coach, one of the best coaches. But he said it best. He said, "It's the little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen." I remember my coach used to always say this quote in high school. He would say it before every practice or at the conclusion of every practice. And it would also be a quote in our locker room. And I always thought it was important because he said the little things are vital. Little things become big things over time. Little habits become normal habits, day-to-day habits over time. But it's the people that start that can really see the fruition of it happening. Remember, if you never start, you never know what it could turn into or what that could actually do for your life. So, again, thank you, Jasmine, for sharing your information. It's been very helpful. If people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Um, well, I have I have a website,
Okay.
blog post. It's
Okay.
nutritionandmovementcoaching.com. I'm also a coach on a startup, truehealthandwellness.com. And then the podcast, Opposites in a Nutshell, on all the platforms. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. And yeah, if you have any other questions, yeah, those are the ways to reach out to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I know people are definitely going to be tuning into your show because your topics are interesting, and of course, people are going to reach out to you because I know these are common questions I get all the time. So I'm gonna direct them your way. I mean, hey, if the business is going well, maybe we can set up a deal. A profit margin 70/30, something like that. I'm cool with that.
We can work something
I'm
out.
I'm joking. I'm joking with you. I'm joking with you. I'll always send some positive people your way. Definitely.
That works. And likewise, because I know what you're doing, and like I said, I don't know if you want to include this on the podcast or not, but I we've grown up together. I don't know if you've heard the stories, but I've heard the stories from my mom and your mom. Like before we even were alive, we've grown up together. Our moms were pregnant with us at the same time, living on a college town in married housing. And then our family separated for a while, and my family went to Washington State. And I don't remember where your family went, but how it happened that both of our families ended up in the same suburban town, small town in a huge metropolitan area, for the, I guess, 10, 12 years of our academics, right? From third grade on up to high school. I don't know how that happened. That's God. But we've grown up together, and I've seen you evolve in going after your college degree, opening up your business. Like, I'm super proud of you. I'm seeing what you're doing. I'm hearing you. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on your podcast, because I was like, man, Chris is doing things and he's encouraging people and just sharing and dropping these nuggets of wisdom that were feeding my soul and that I was sharing to my people. And they were like, Jasmine, why do you keep sending me this? I'm like, because you got to listen to it, okay? You need this. You need this in your soul. So I'm proud of you. And any way that I can collaborate with you, I'm here for it. So thank you for having me on. I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We got big things on the way. This is just the beginning, not the end. So you guys paying attention out here, trust me, we're going to have some dope content coming your way. And again, Jasmine, I appreciate you coming on, and we will see you guys on the next episode. See you later.